Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Techpoint Africa Podcast. My name is Chimgozrim, and today we are going to be looking at a very interesting subject: insurance in Nigeria and how tech can help drive adoption. So, just before we get into it, let's pay homage to, I guess that's the word, pay homage to our sponsors, Whistle App. So, in the last 8 years, more than 40,000 people have died in car accidents in Nigeria, and a very huge number of that 40,000 people comes from reckless drivers who just get away with it. Now, there's actually a solution for you, with which you can see these guys, you can report their reckless driving, and well, funny thing or good thing is that you also get to be paid for it. So with the Whistle app, which we'll put a link in the description, you can always go download the app and report these activities. So if you see a reckless driver, if you see someone over speeding, or probably someone who has a hit and run accident, you could always report the person. So all you need to do is take a photo and upload it on the app, and you get a reward for doing that. So this is basically you making money for doing good, and your reward will be on Earth with our sponsor. So let's get into the conversation. Insurance in Nigeria is at very, very low levels. The insurance penetration is at very, very low levels. In some industries, it's as low as 1%. In some industries, it's as high as 15%. The car insurance industry is one of the highest, and is something that someone said insurance companies are basically competing with God for insurance premiums. And today, we're going to be looking at it. In the last decade, the numbers have barely moved. And we've had insurance tech companies spring up in the last few years, but nothing really has happened. I think 2 years ago, it was at 2% for the general insurance industry. And as of today, it's still at 2% based on some reports. Why has it not moved, and what can we do? What can tech do to push that number? So today, I have with me in the studio, Temitope Adeyemi. He's the CEO of PayU, an insurance tech company that just launched in Nigeria this year. And he's going to be going with me. We are going to be looking at taking an entire view of the insurance industry. What are the challenges in the industry? What has been done in the past? What can be done better to ensure that insurance penetration gets moved from where it is? So welcome, Temitope.
Thank you so much, Chigozo. Thank you for having me.
All right, so we are going to start on a personal note. Can you just introduce yourself to our audience?
Yes, so my name is Temitope Adeyemi, and I'm the co-founder CEO at PayU. So what we do at PayU is we are democratizing access to comprehensive auto insurance. We are breaking that barrier, that pricing barrier, especially right to comprehensive auto insurance. Yeah, that's a brief introduction of myself.
All right, so what's from your experience as an insurance professional, what would you say is the state of the car insurance industry in Nigeria currently, and what is the state of the larger insurance industry at this point?
Motor insurance in Nigeria is like the low-hanging fruit, right? Where if any insurtech wants to come into to play within the industry, motor is like a low-hanging fruit, like I rightly said. So,
why is that?
So, I mean, why that is because everybody knows that you should have third-party insurance. When you go to renew your vehicle papers, you are asked by the unqualified guys who issue third-party at licensing offices. Oh, you need third-party insurance. So people subconsciously know that there's something called third-party insurance that you must have because of your car. So people are kind of like aware about that product within the insurance space. So it's a low-hanging fruit because if I meet any vehicle owner and I talk about life insurance, he might not understand what that is. But if I meet a vehicle owner and I talk about third-party insurance, comprehensive motor insurance, he probably will say, oh, okay, what you have to talk to me about, So I mean, it's the low-hanging fruit, which is where we are trying to play, because for more than 3 decades, it's still been between 10 to 15%. Almost all the 40 insurers, right, within the Nigerian insurance industry, they are still only just insuring between 10 to 15% of the available vehicles. So the question is, what has been happening, or what is happening, or what will continue to happen to the remaining 80% if something is actually not done? So that's why we are playing within that space for starters.
All right. So you mentioned rightly that a lot of people are aware of car insurance, and they will be more willing to listen to you. But a lot of people may be aware also. I think my knowledge of insurance is from business studies classes in secondary school. But even at this point, I still do not care so much about insurance. So how or why should I care about insurance?
Okay, so especially about motor insurance, if you have a car, you will know that every day that you put that car on the road, you have exposures. Someone can run into you. You can run into someone. Your car can be hijacked. Your car can be anything can happen. Your car can get burnt. I've seen severally where someone just finished buying fuel at the filling station and is about driving out, and the car just gets burnt, right? So many exposures, right? So that's the reason why, if something has happened to your friend or your neighbor before, as regards their car, you probably would also want to hear it, aside from the fact that we all want to use religion to say, oh, this is my backing, right? But you want to hear it. But I've noticed over my 15 years experience within the industry that the pushback Nigerians always have when it comes to insurance is the pricing factor, right? Our insurers, the way our policies are worded, our price point, they are a copy and paste of what is obtainable in the West, right? When you get a price point, how it's done in the West, and you bring it to Nigeria, we don't run the same. We don't have the same financial capability, right? So you can't tell me someone in the US pays premium on motor insurance monthly, for example, and you want to expect me in Nigeria to also pay monthly. It will not work. That guy probably earns $1,000 a week, and I'm probably earning 250,000 naira a month, right? I probably have so much to spend on medicals. That guy over there goes to the hospital for free, right? So, when you do those comparison, that guy has more earning power than me, who is paying to. So why can't I now pay in Nigeria for comprehensive motor insurance when I need it the most? And when do I actually need comprehensive motor insurance the most? It's when my car hits the road running, when I put my car on the road to drive. So those are essentially like some reasons why we have that low adoption, and why it will continue if something is not done about it, and which is what PayU is here to actually fix.
All right. So pricing is one of the major issues that people get insurance. Right. But another problem is that if I get insurance, right, it's only the traditional method has always been I get insurance for an entire year, and I could go the entire year without any of the things you mentioned happening to my car. It's also very possible that I don't hit anyone. Now what happens? My premium just gets, like, I lose it entirely, and the insurance company gets money for basically doing nothing. And it's one of the issues that people have. Why do I have to pay for something? I'd rather pay out of pocket than do this. So how can we, what has the insurance companies done previously to probably mitigate this and ensure that, okay, I was reading somewhere that, I can't remember the country, but what they do is that your insurance premiums are rolled over. So the way we roll over data plans, it's rolled over to the next year. Do we have similar models where if nothing happens, you don't make any claims in an entire year, it's rolled over to the next year?
Yeah, so up until now, up until when PayU launched on the 8th of August 2022, you can't roll over premium in Nigeria. So at best, you probably will just buy comprehensive auto insurance on a monthly basis. But what we have built is, so what you just asked now, where people say, oh, I've gone a year, 2 years, 3 years without an accident. You guys are just collecting my money for doing nothing, right? That is what PayU has. That's what PayU has built on now, right? So if your car is parked in your house for 2 weeks and you're not driving it out, why are you paying comprehensive auto insurance? So why don't you just pay comprehensive auto insurance the day you decide to move it out? I'm sure if you move your car out a day, maybe after the last 3 weeks, and tow when you were going out and when you were coming back, say for example you paid 200 naira, I'm sure you won't be feeling bad at the end of a year that somebody collected a total of say 7,000 or 10,000 naira from you. I'm sure you won't be feeling bad. As compared to you having paid 80,000, 90,000 as the case may be, up front, nothing happens in the year, you're going to be feeling really bad that, oh, they just collected my money for nothing, right? But when it's essentially you're paying as you go, you're paying when you feel the need, you're not going to come back to start feeling, oh, I threw out money, I wasted money. So those are like what we have built on from our experience over 15 years, right? Where I have a whole lot of customers that if they buy a car today, the first year they do insurance, comprehensive auto insurance, the second year they do, the third year they'll tell you they are not renewing. That after all, 2 years ago, over the last 2 years, nothing has happened. You understand? So, but when it is that I can pay, so a former MD of an insurance company downloaded our mobile app and I got to call him. He said this absolutely just makes sense because for the past 2 weeks, his car, he has been at home. He hasn't gone anywhere, right? And so he doesn't see the need to buy comprehensive auto insurance up front. Nobody's going to come and steal his car in his house, right? So whenever he wants to move out, whenever he wants to drive out of the house, he can just turn this on and pay whatever naira per minute. And if his to and fro is 1 hour or 2 hours, he just pays that, parks back his car in his garage, and that is it. So that is what we've built, actually.
Okay. So 2 questions about that model. It's I think it sounds very cool that I only pay when I use my vehicle. But like you just mentioned, it's very possible for me not to use my vehicle for 2 weeks, possibly even more than that. Mm-hmm. If my car is bad, it's probably going to sit there for a very, very long time. Mm-hmm. Now, why don't you think that the fact that I only pay when I'm using my vehicle, that it puts like a hindrance to, so if this is something I'm paying up front, right, it's just once a month and I pay it. Mm-hmm. But if I have to pay every single time I use, don't you think that users may decide, oh, okay, I paid yesterday, paid the previous day, and nothing happened. So maybe I can just go today. And as a result, instead of you getting that money upfront, because now for you to make sense for you and you stay in the business long enough, it has to make financial sense. You need to make money from it. So the primary way insurance companies have made their money is from these insurance premiums. But with this, don't you think that it kind of puts a level of friction that probably makes people less reluctant? So what happens if I want to pay for insurance and my internet connection is bad? Or maybe even the USSD app doesn't work if you have that option. Now, don't you think it creates some friction that could make your customers drop off at any point?
Okay, so thank you very much. I think before Glo started, is it pay per second? MTN was only doing is it pay per hour?
Okay.
Right? And call per hour, where once you call, even if you talk for a few seconds, they're going to deduct 1 hour fee. And when Glo came, they just broke that chain and it was like, is it pay per seconds or pay per minute, right? And the conversation was also around, oh, how would they make money? Right? We all can see how they've made money now, right? So now, insurance is a business of numbers. So now that people know I can pay, depending on the value of my car, I can pay 1 naira 50 kobo, 2 naira per minute, or 3 naira per minute, as the case may be, depending on the value of my car. Now, what is going to happen is you're going to have more people buying insurance on a per minute basis, because I saw that. So I went out on Saturday to talk to some ride sharing drivers. When I got I missed them. I was talking about comprehensive. They said, no, we don't want to buy. That thing is expensive. Then when I started talking about 1 naira per minute, they were like, really? That sounds cool. They all downloaded the app. So that validates that pricing had always been a problem, right? They all downloaded, funded their wallet in the app to the tune of 2,000 naira, right? Now, you imagine that 10,000 people across Nigeria. Now we're talking about well over 9 million uninsured vehicles. So let's now say just 10,000 people, right, do 1 hour daily on that app. And let's say the value of 1 hour daily use is 100 naira. So you want to look at 100 naira times 10,000. That's about 10 million naira if my math is okay, right? So you're looking at 10 million naira every day in premium. And remember that once that 1 hour lapses, insurance has lapsed. So that is hand money for the insurance company immediately, right? It's not that you're carrying over a certain portion of an annual premium into the next year to make provision for claim. No, you know what you earn every 1 hour as an insurance industry, right? So now coming to the other part of your question where you said if someone turns it on yesterday and nothing happened, feels, oh, why should I turn it on today? After I turned it on yesterday, nothing happened. So that scenario happened to one of our users, right? He's often he usually frequents Lagos Ibadan on travel trips. So there was a particular day he was coming to Lagos. He turned on his insurance. 2 days after, he was also still coming. He wanted to fund his wallet. His bank app was not working, right? Just like the scenario you're painting now, right? Then he said, oh, I'll just go ahead. Let me just go. Nothing will happen. Unfortunately for him, he got to Beggar and a truck rammed him from the rear. And he was so bitter with himself that the past 4 days he has been turning this thing on, nothing has happened. Why is it that it's today that he refused to turn it on that something has happened? This is actually happening to him. So what that essentially taught him is that he should endeavor, one, to have good amount, because what he has always been doing is 1,000 funding his wallet, to have good amount of money per time, because this is technology. Bank apps is technology. USSD code is technology. So no one can actually determine how that works, right? So he has learned that whatever it is, because he also had a last option to call a friend of his to help him fund his wallet, right? But he just felt he would try it out. So what that invariably means is he was going to explore all options to make sure he provides cover on his car whenever he's going on such trips. So it's pretty straightforward. The control is with the user. If you cannot, if you think I've turned it on the last 2 days, I don't want to turn it on today, that is part of our business model. We don't expect that you will turn it on every day, but we want you to turn it on the day you feel that I'm actually going to be at risk as I'm going on this journey. Let me protect my vehicle, right? So that essentially is what it is. So we need to begin to see the fact that people now want value for the money they spend, rather than we just statutorily or the way we've always been doing it, collecting money up front from people, and of course they don't fall into claim, and they eventually say, oh no, we're not doing it again.
Okay, interesting. So we've been speaking for quite a bit now, and we are going to be taking another ad break. So I to the audience, I hope you've learned a lot, and I hope you're getting ready, if you have a car, to get your insurance premiums, whether it's third party or comprehensive insurance. So right now we are going to be taking a break and to get a message from the Techpoint Africa business team.
Hi, I'm Abisola Adenoga, the head of business at Techpoint Africa. Did you know that you could present yourself as a reputable brand leader? Did you know that your business can get the limelight it deserves? Now you do. Using Techpoint Africa's marketing tools, we can put you in the faces of a large audience for brand awareness and thought leadership. To do this, reach out to us by sending an email to business@techpoint.africa or click on the link in the description below.
Okay, welcome back. Before we left, we were discussing insurance in Nigeria with a focus on the car insurance industry. And with me is Temitope Adeyemi, the CEO of PayU. So we are going to be continuing that conversation, but we are going to be looking at something else. So a few years ago, Yinka is one of our colleagues here. He's the lead for intelligence by Techpoint. So he wrote this article. It was a sort of a deep dive into insurance, and there was a survey done for the article, and about 96% of the people who responded were aware of insurance. This was like a broad insurance conversation. So whether it was car insurance, life insurance, or just any type, they were aware of it. But like we've mentioned, only 7% of them had an insurance cover of any form. Now, at the time this happened, insurance was just about 2% penetration, and it's still below that number after about 3 years. So this is like from 2019. Now, what do you think has been the biggest challenge? Now, we've talked about the price point, but what do you think has been the biggest challenge to getting more people to take action on insurance? Because it's not just the article by Yinka. There are also several reports that show that a lot of people in Nigeria are aware of what insurance means. Either they've heard of it from a friend, or they know that it's required when they get a new vehicle, or probably they've had someone come to sell life insurance to them, but they just do not take any action. Now, what do you think tech companies can do? Because tech tends to disrupt sectors, but we've had insurtech companies in Nigeria that are roughly 5 years old, and we can't really say there has been much happening. The needle hasn't moved much. So how do you think tech companies can help drive insurance penetration? Because it's really important.
Yeah, so the very first thing we should be looking at is trust.
Okay.
So I think maybe before I was even born, I heard that there were, so during the days of like my parents and all, that they used to have standing instruction from their bank to their insurance company that, oh, okay, so once my salary drops at the end of the month, please take so kobo. Then it was still kobo. How much was salary? Maybe 2 naira, 3 naira was what they were paying people at the end of every month. I mean, that was a whole lot of money then, right? So standing instruction. But from what I also heard, that immediately the insurance companies were changing hands from the foreign owners to our native people. Then trust started eroding down that line, right? Where people now started saying, going to their bank, say, no, don't do that standing order again. I want to. So the first thing tech companies need to first of all do is bring back that trust. So what is the trust? I like to compare claims to cash withdrawal from the bank. If I take my money to a bank and I deposit, I'm going there because I'm depositing that money there because I know if 1 hour later I feel I need that money back, I can just walk back there and get back my money, right? It's not the same with claim in the insurance industry. You can't tell that if I have a motor claim, for example, now you can't tell the turnaround. You can't say, oh, in 3 days, 4 days, I'll get my claim settled so that I can fix my car. You can't say that. You are at the mercy of the insurance company. It could take them 1 month, it could take 2 months, it could take 3 months, right? That is even if it is not altogether repudiated, right? So trust needs to be brought back. That's the first thing.
Okay.
Which I very much know that technology can easily do that. So once we have trust, the other thing is we need to stop doing this copy and pasting in terms of especially process, pricing. This is how they do it in the West. It will necessarily not work here like that. It will not work here for so many reasons. It will not work like that here. So that's why, like in 4 hours, I tell my insurance colleagues to say, see, domestication of policies this is the time we need it the most. How do our people live? What exactly do they want? Okay, this is a product from the West, and so how can it fit the lifestyle of our people? Rather than say, oh, this is how they do it there, so this is how they must do it here. No, it will not work. So that, I think, should be the flow if we need to see an improvement in the uptake of insurance. Like the survey rightly said, people know what insurance is, but they won't do it because, one, trust, two, the process, and number three, the pricing is just not right for our people. Just take a look at almost all the product lines. It's all about the same. It's just now that people are beginning to develop on the process. Okay, so instead of carrying 50-page document and all that, people can just, everything can just be summarized in one sheet of paper on a mobile phone and all of that. Then price point, instead of you paying maybe whole life or term life of 200,000 or whatever, now some people are beginning to do 2,005, maybe monthly. So now it's affordable. Now all of those mosaic things you are writing in policy document, you're now putting it as a one-pager. Now it makes sense. I can quickly go through that to see the terms and conditions, the whereas, the where-ins, the where-offs. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a policy. I just want to buy policy. Why am I reading all of this, right? So all of those jargons, let's remove them. Let's make it as simple as... See, what we are doing at PayU, I've sold it to an 8-year-old girl. She understood it. That was when I knew we were in for business. It's as simple as that. Anything you want to sell to me that a kid will not understand, I won't buy.
No, interesting. Because interesting that you're mentioning wherein, whereas, wherewith, and all of that is, I think it's actually an intentional. Now, this is just me thinking, it's just my opinion. I really think it's intentional by companies when they put all of those words that may be a bit difficult for...
See, now I don't understand what they wearing, whereas, where is. I don't understand what it is. I don't know why people they put it, all those things.
Well, I think you have to blame the lawyers, and unfortunately, we have 2 lawyers here. So 2 of them behind the camera, they are lawyers, so you can meet them after to get some clarification. I think it's what they do to keep themselves in business, but it's a conversation for another day. All right, so moving on. You mentioned something about building trust, and I think it's a problem that is in every industry in Nigeria. So I've had, this year alone, I've had issues with my bank twice, and I've not yet resolved one. I was able to resolve one after about 2 months.
Wow.
Partially because I didn't have the time to go to the bank back to back to follow them up. But there's this thing that I noticed. So you have a problem with your bank, and you've been talking to them calmly. They've not responded. The moment you send them an email and you copy the CBN, they will respond to you like it's. I think the CBN is just, I don't know. It's like the magic word. The moment they see CBN copied in the email, they respond within. I think they responded to me within 2 hours. So I'm just curious. What's the insurance body that is in charge of the insurance industry, and is there something that the regulator can do to ensure that insurance companies comply with? Because when we talk about trust, it's mainly trust being eroded on the part of the insurance company, not really the customers themselves. So is there like a regulator, or do you think that the regulators can play a part in ensuring that there's trust between the companies and the people that they serve?
So that question I'll answer that question in 2 parts. So number one, as an insurance policyholder, if you want to complain, there's a complaint channel within NICOM. In fact, it's just by email, and NICOM, they do respond. At least I've tried that channel out severally, and in fact, they did not only respond by email, they still sent hard copy written response, right? Yeah. So which I was highly impressed, right? With they replied to my email and they still forwarded. So that being said, then the matter of trust. The insurance companies are the ones doing business. The regulator is just there to say, oh, okay, this is the benchmark, or don't pass this line. That's only what the regulator is doing, right? Doling out policies, directions, right? But it is the insurance companies that are in the business, making the money. So if you see that, this industry where we are, trust is a big issue. That's why we're not getting the kind of volume we should be getting and all of that. It is you guys that should come together to see what to do about that. And largely, I think one of the major issues about this whole trust thing is the agents. The insurance agents are on the field selling. These are agents that are, one, not properly trained.
Okay.
Two, when you even train someone, you need to retrain the person. Constant training, right? But these insurance companies will just come, hire anyone on the street, bring in anyone on the street, just do say 1 hour. So what they do is they teach you about an insurance product, not like the entire values within the insurance industry. Right. So these are the reasons why these agents go out there, misrepresent the entire industry, overpromise a customer. When I promise you, this and that, and when the time comes and you don't get it like that, you feel disappointed, right? Yeah. And it is easy for you to tell 10 other people that don't mind those insurance people. They are like this. So agent network needs to be looked into, and proper training needs to be done within that space, right? So that these agents go out there to represent the industry, not only the insurance company that you're working for. So I strongly believe that technology can play a big role here, because essentially, so take for example the solution we have rolled out. You don't need an agent. Just download an app, fill in your details, put in the picture of your car, fund your wallet, that's all. And you have your policy certificate by email automatically. So you don't need an agent to broker, or even a broker to be a mediator between you and an insurance company. And if you want to make your claim, there's a claim channel in there on the app as well. And you get a response within 5 hours that you log a claim. So it's so seamless that you don't need to interface with anyone, right? So that essentially is what technology is going to help us achieve, bringing back the entire trust that we've lost in the past. And based off on the fact that now people can say, it is when I need it that I buy it. I don't necessarily have to put my money out upfront for any kind of policy. Yeah. So, and of course, we're going to be, the insurtech industry is going to be innovating along various value chain. There are some of my colleagues who are innovating around devices and gadgets, phones, and all of that. I
think I would be doing that.
Yeah. So a very good friend of mine has an insurtech firm that gadget. We have people who are innovating around health, where you can get to pay 200 naira or 500 naira every month, and you get medical care. People are really innovating, and one thing that I'm happy about is most of us realize that pricing is a major problem. And if you can do something about pricing as an insurtech, you're going to have an inroad. It's just a matter of time.
Okay. So on one hand, I agree that the regulators are they just set the standards on how things should go. And I'm just thinking, if Nigeria's insurance industry is not 10 years old, it's been around for a very long time. Mm-hmm. And we have some of the big guys who've been here for 35 years, 40 years, in some cases as old as the country itself. Mm-hmm. And they've been working with a certain model. And I'm just wondering, it would appear that they have an incentive to keep on working that way. So it's either they don't want to get past a certain level, or this is already working for them. So why change? Because like you rightly mentioned earlier, if when Glo came into the market, it forced MTN to reappraise the way they charged customers. And I'm just wondering, is it possible that tech startups coming up could, because right now it's still an unproven business model. A lot of tech companies that are playing in this space are still, like I mentioned earlier, under 5 years. So you can't really say you guys are successful yet. So do you think that the longer tech companies stay, or longer tech startups, insurtech startups now play in this space, that they could force these legacy companies? Because these legacy companies have, like, I think last count, about 15,000 agents spread across the country. And with internet penetration not so high, it could also be that, do you think that insurtech startups force their hand, and then either they begin to incorporate tech, or they reevaluate some of their pricing mechanisms?
Okay, so thank you so much. So, change is difficult. So once you are used to doing something like this, the question you ask is the question you just ask: why change, right? So most of these legacy companies are okay with their oil and gas transactions that gives them, say, $10 million in premium at the end of, annually.
Yeah.
Right. So they will now be like, okay, I'll be collecting $1.50 per minute for a car. What's that? Now, but what you don't understand is, by the time an insurtech like PayU gathers momentum over, say, 5 years, and we're now beginning to look at serving 1 million people, right? So you want to begin to look at, okay, so if in 5 years we're able to have 1 million users out of the available 9 million users, you see, that's still a very big market, right? We now have users who do 200 naira every day on the app, and that's potentially 200 million every day, right? So I want to begin to now ask the question: how much of $10 million would you get compared to someone who is making 200 million daily for 365 days? Now, so, like, for example, while me and my friends we chat, I said I'm already hiring some insurance companies that I want to buy. That's just the plain fact. So you begin to look at the fact that there's so much money in retail that there's so much missing out from, and they're just chasing after
Corporate clients.
corporate oil and gas clients, because that's where they feel where the bulk of their money is coming from right now. But the very smart ones, right? Legacy companies, what they are doing is they are partnering with insurtech companies. Some of them are even investing in insurtech companies, right? So that at least they could also take that share of the pie that the insurtechs are looking at, taking from the market, right? So I see that. So of course, the long game is very important. As an insurtech, you have to. So insurance is not even fintechs. Most fintechs, before they go all out, unicorn and all of that, they do 3-4 years, right? Aside maybe the big ones, Flutterwave, I think 5 or 6 years before they became unicorn. So of course, insurtechs too need to look at that space. But as an insurtech, don't come to play as an insurtech and be an agent. Innovate on something that is a real pain point. Don't come and say the current pricing model, the current policy schedule is just the way you are just going to put into an API and you want to be distributing. You are just an agent, and you are going to get the same result the foot soldier agent are getting. So you are not going to make any impact. But look for a section or a product of the insurance industry. Innovate end to end on that product, from pricing to process to claim. Innovate on that entire value chain for just one product. Be good at it, and just give yourself time. You'll be there. We launched our product exactly 14 days ago. I've got a call from Uganda. As a matter of fact, is a regulator who wants us to come to Uganda. I have 4 people from Kenya, right, saying that this is a very nice product. Please, can you come? When are you coming? Somebody even publicly wrote on my LinkedIn post that, please, when are you coming to Kenya? I'd like to partner with you. I've had several DMs from Ghana. We have someone in Egypt. So a product like this, right, resonates with people. I essentially just pay for what I use. I'm not paying you upfront any money, right? It just makes sense. It's clarity for any car owner, right? I drive my car, I pay. I park my car, I don't pay. Simple, right? So this kind of product that we've rolled out essentially is not that kind of product that you probably would say you want to first of all stay in Nigeria for 3, 4, 5 years. You want to amass the market in Nigeria before you start looking at going elsewhere, right? It's a product that works everywhere, right? Even Tanzania, even where is that country that someone reached out to me that there are 2 million people there in this Africa. It also works there, right? So, like I said, look for a product, innovate end to end, pricing, process, claim. If you can do that and you do it well, that is enough unicorn as a company. What are these guys doing in the US? I've forgotten their name right now. They're only doing motor insurance, and they've raised hundreds of millions of US dollars. They've not been profitable. So one thing that I'm still I still want to go back to the US to study is how. Okay, so we launched 14 days ago. We have made revenue. It might be very small, $50, but it's revenue. But someone has raised $300 million, and they say they've not even made any revenue. So those things, I need to find time to go and study and understand how all those things work. So, but essentially, right, I think overall, technology will help us improve our penetration rate, how people are able to perceive insurance, how people are able to interact with insurance, how people are able to buy insurance. You know, these our generation now, right? We don't want people coming to bug us for anything. We want, most of us are even looking for lesser human interaction. So if I can have something that makes sense in a digital form, I wouldn't mind buying it. Most engineers, developers, most work from homes right now have their cars parked in their house for 2, 3, or 4 weeks, whatever it is. I'm not paying anything at that time when my car is parked, but when I want to drive out, I get to pay. So someone brings a solution. When I want to get on the road, I buy life insurance. I'm just saying, that's a product. That could be a product, right? I buy life insurance. When I get back into my house where I feel I'm not at risk
You're less likely to die.
You're less likely to die. You understand that point, right? I'm less likely to die now. I turn off insurance.
What happens when you're sleeping?
So if you also want to go to bed and it feels, I'm at the risk of death while asleep. I thought, this is how products start, right? Yes, I turn it on, and when I wake up and I say, thank God I'm alive back, I turn it off. It's essentially a pay as I want. When I need it, I buy it. If I feel I don't need it, I don't buy it.
So I'll be really interested in how this works around life insurance specifically, because I understand health insurance, even health insurance. I think those are like two industries that it would be interesting to see how people innovate on existing models. So shameless plug here, I write this series, Equity Merchants, where I speak to investors. So if you want to understand, and for the audience too, if you want to understand investments, how VCs think and all, so you can always go there to read more about it. So there are a lot of articles, there are a lot of how-tos on it too. So you can just go check how investors think and why they invest in the companies that they invest in. So thank you so much for this conversation. This has been very, very interesting. We were talking earlier and I was telling you that I'm not like a very like I don't really have a very
Domain
great
expertise.
understanding. Yeah, and this was a very, very good way to learn more about insurance in Nigeria and generally. So thank you so much for your time. But before we go, the FinTech Summit is an event by Techpoint Africa, and it's going to be coming up on November 26th. And you can always go to fintech.techpoint.africa to find out more. Register, reserve your seat. So early bird tickets are out now. Don't wait until maybe 2 days and then you start asking, where can I get tickets and all. So please get your tickets as soon as possible and prepare. You'll be getting more information in the coming weeks about how things go. So get the tickets, tell people about it, and just get ready. So thank you so much, Temitope.
Thank you so much, Chi. Thank you so much for your time.
All right.
Thank you
So
for having me.
bye.